Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to my Disney Dreamlight Valley decorating series. I'm not a highly skilled decorator, and it doesn't matter. I know I'm not the only one that gets overwhelmed, starts but doesn't finish, or worse, never starts at all. This series is about me breaking down my process, room by room, space by space, even if it ends up super basic. If that sounds like fun to you, great, let's do this. All right, so this week's video is the Mudroom. I'm trying really hard to group rooms that make sense together, either in the space in the house or kind of as a collective. So this is another kind of entry room to a house. And again, I'm starting with the walls and the floors. I wanted something that looked kind of, I don't know, rustic isn't the right word, but you know, like kind of not as pretty or formal. I really wish I could have put a door in this room so it looked like it was like almost a back room entrance or a side room entrance. So I was looking at the bricks. I was looking at, you know, simple still, but I wanted it to look almost like it's a room that just kind of happens. I wasn't wanting it to be kind of a pretty mudroom, even though that's something that people do, especially if it's a room that's more visible in a house or more prominent in the house. But because of the way the rooms are set up in Dreamlight Valley, it can feel like a separate room that people may or may not see, but that would still be high traffic for the people that lived in the house. So I definitely wanted it to be grungy really isn't the right word, although some of the stuff I pick is kind of grungy looking because I wanted it to be something that looked like it was used daily. And I don't know what was up with that corner, with that light in the corner. It was kind of funny. So windows are next. I really wanted like big windows. I almost wanted it to be like the room was covered in windows, but some of the really big windows that were available either weren't tall enough or they didn't look quite right for what I like, almost too formal or pretty. So I ended up going with the ones, I think they're from Mulan, and then the big Lion King stained glass thing, because I don't know how many places I would use it, but I really wanted color in this room. Oh, and that's when I finally decided that the gray wasn't right. I love this floor from Encanto, and I actually ended up really liking this kind of half plastered brick. It had just that feel I was looking for, like a room where you wouldn't necessarily take the time to, you know, do a lot of really formal kind of painting, but that you might, you know, put stuff on to cover up, you know, kind of the grunginess of it, to kind of spruce it up, even though you weren't really expecting it to be, I don't know, pristine, I guess. I knew I wanted some carpets in here. I wanted a hard floor surface. I didn't want a carpet in here, but I wanted like area rugs, and I wanted a lot of them. And then instead of looking for the big pieces first, I kind of was looking for clutter. I was looking for some things to, there's like a couple different kinds of spaces in this room because I have a feeling I'm going to have a problem making small rooms, even though that is an option. So I knew I needed to fill a lot of space. And that big cube thing from Wall-E, I really wanted it in here because it made me feel like a place where you might drop off, you know, your day's worth of stuff, no matter what you do, like backpacks and shoes and just kind of stuff that you might grab and go on your way out or take off before you go inside the main living areas. And I knew I wanted a lot of wall clutter in here too. So floor clutter and wall clutter. And I'm just slapping it all in here, trying to, you know, just put it up there and see what looks right. I liked the idea too of, you know, we all end up with like, you know, decor objects or, you know, old awards or just things that have kind of come into our lives over the years. And then sometimes they end up in just storage, like in your basement in a box somewhere. But I felt like this room might be a good place to, like, you still want to hang on to it and you still want to have it up, but you don't necessarily want it in your living room or your bedroom or, you know, whatever other room that's more about the now version of you. So I thought this might be a good place where it's like, oh, I've got this thing, I still want to keep it, but I'm just going to stick it on the wall in here so I kind of can still look at it, but it's not getting as much focus as it might in a current living space. Some mirrors. I liked that starlight. I can't remember if I keep it up, so I guess we'll find out. Those little curtains, I don't know about you, but I still probably have leftover curtains that were from the previous owner in my basement, and it's just one of those things I'm never like thinking about, oh, I gotta replace those basement curtains. And so they just still kind of hung around, and that's what those little red polka dotty curtains reminded me of. I actually don't think I kept them in the room because they were kind of a pain to deal with. They wouldn't stay on the wall, like the metal cubes. I couldn't leave them above the wall there. And so they made it a little tricky to think about where I would want to put them. I didn't mind the fact that they might not run the entire wall, but I think in the end I didn't keep them. So now I'm just trying to like take some of those big pieces and try and block out the different little spaces that I'm going to have in this room. And I knew I wanted the cubes and, you know, kind of a drop-off zone over by the door, because I felt like that might be where you would sit and take off shoes and drop off your bags, or, you know, just whatever, you know, you bring in from a store, from work, or something like that. And then I knew I wanted a couple corners that were clutter, by the door over there, which I offset, and I really like doing that, because when you transition from a room where the door is centered and then into a room where it's off center, it feels like the house is a different shape rather than just a box. And I like that a lot. And I like the fact that we can do that. I'm glad that the door isn't kind of chained to that central spot. And I'm just looking for anything else that I might stick in a room like this, like kind of like that stuff you never want to let go of, but still kind of want to keep around, so you can still see it every once in a while. And just like other decor objects, later I look at decor again to see if there's anything else that might fit a space like this, like holiday stuff that you might stick in a garage or a basement or some kind of storage room, so that you can get it out every once in a while. But like when you put it away, you may not put everything away, so it might still be kind of out in a space like this. I liked those grungy lights that we got when the game first came out. Like the first room, you go in and it's all messy. You get the dirty stove and, you know, kind of grungy lights and windows and stuff. I wanted some of that in here. Like this might be a room you don't dust that often, so cobwebs might grow. Because it's high traffic, but it's not necessarily as well maintained as some of the other spaces would be. Oh yeah, now I'm looking for some tables, because one of the corners is actually going to be kind of a gardening table. Again, I really wish I could have put a second door in here, because it might make it look like it's a room where you would keep some of your gardening stuff, but then be easy to get back outside and take things, you know. So after I looked at all those different tables, I settled on a couple. Little locker style table, a little I thought I went with I did. That's the one that has the mushrooms on it. I'm probably going to reuse some of the stuff that I used in this room, just because I like it for multiple ideas of some different rooms. And some of the plants in here are plants I used I think I used them in the foyer. But I think real me probably wouldn't have as many plants in a house, but the plants in a video game do not die or require watering or any other maintenance, so I can put plants as many places as I'd like. And I like the idea of having lots of plants. Real me is not a green thumb, so. And now I wanted a bench for this, you know, little nook where you take off your shoes and kind of come in from the outside. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to put it at an angle. I didn't want it quite as dirty. There was that rusted bench, and I was like, I don't need it to be rusty. I used the rusty can, and I used the kind of rusty looking cubes, but I kind of wanted the bench to be a little bit more comfortable, but not necessarily too plush. Some of those were looking a little too plush. And then those little chairs that I brought in, it was more about like, this might be a place where you would stash chairs if you needed them for company, but not necessarily have them out all the time. So you just kind of stick them in a place, like in a room like this. So the stacked chairs and then maybe a loose chair was what I was going for looking at the chairs. And now I'm just kind of futzing with all of the wall decor, trying to figure out, because it's not like you would just necessarily put it all up willy-nilly, kind of like I did at first. You would, you know, it would grow over time where you would kind of, oh, I've got this picture. Oh, I've got this award. Oh, I've got this thing. Oh, I've got this leftover mirror. I switched it out for something I like better, and you don't want to let go of it. So it would start out as kind of intentional, and then as you add more stuff to a space like this, you know, you'd have to fill in the little nooks. I put a bulletin board by the door. I kind of wish you could reskin some stuff or like have different options for how they look, like the cubes. It'd be nice if there was like a filled version where there was stuff in them, or the cork board, having like things on the cork board. It'd be nice to have like a blank version and a version where you had stuff. Oh yeah, and now I'm trying to like fill out the gardening nook. I really wanted to put one of these potted plants, but it just looked too big for the space. Oh, and some of those crates, I didn't mind them. And I like them, obviously. I kept a bunch, but you couldn't put them on the carpets without seeing the carpet through the bottom of the crate. So that's why they ended up having to go on the floor instead, so they didn't look weird. Although you can still walk over them. They're not like, you know, solid. I think at the end I walk over one of them, I realized, I was like, oh, it's kind of odd. And now I'm just looking for like some more kind of clutter, fill up some of those empty spots on the surfaces. And yeah, I went with the little dragon because I thought, you know, that would be something that I could see getting, or as like a gift or almost as a novelty. And then over time you're just like, I think I'll just stick it in one of these little side rooms, you know, storage areas. But it would still kind of almost look like a display. I've got stuff like that in my garage, where it's just like they kind of just accumulate over time. And just kind of finalizing some stuff. A little lamp. I liked how that book and pencil cup looked on that desk. Kind of like you might have, you know, like a gardening book there or something to, you know, as you're dealing with gardening stuff. Made sense to me. And I like that we can put it on an angle now. Oh yeah, I thought about having like a tea spot, but it was going to require some more space than I was willing to give it, so I decided not to. And yeah, just kind of looking for those last minute touches. I even thought about putting a partition in between the bench and the gardening area to kind of make it feel like I broke up the space a little bit, but I wasn't super committed to the idea, so I didn't look too hard. The branch thing was too much. So anyway. All right, let's go in and check it out. I like to come in from the outside just so it kind of gets a sense of like how it would be to enter the house and get to the room. And yeah, I really like how this room turned out. It was kind of the first room that felt like something that would be really lived in and kind of in a way that I live. I know that there are people that are more minimalist than me, easier to let things go and declutter, but this room felt very much like a room that would develop with natural accumulation and just real life. And I love the colors. I love how like kind of thrown together it is, but that it still feels like even though things have just kind of landed in this room, there's still purpose in this room. I even sat down here to see, I just came in from outside and I'm going to take off my shoes before going in the house. And yeah, I like that there's kind of some different spaces, lots of storage, which is also one of my favorite things. But all in all, I feel like this was the first room that really felt like something that I might have in my home. The other two feel a little bit too formal and not really my style, so I really enjoyed getting to put this one together. Hopefully it helps you feel like you might have that feeling too if you are still struggling to decorate. So yeah. That's it for today's decorating adventure. If you liked this video, a thumbs up is a great way to let me know, and a subscription will keep you up to date on my latest shenanigans. If you want to hang out with me live, I stream on YouTube and Twitch on Thursday evenings and middays on Sunday. I hope you have a lovely day, night, time, wherever you are, whenever you are. And I'll see you next time.